I think our music is quite, it's for everyone. Or some people won't like it, that's normal. But I want them to walk away and think, that's just a good band. That's a bunch of kids, who've done that off their own back. They've written it themselves, they've recorded it themselves, and that's what they came out with. And I think that is something special. Hiya Klat, my name's Evan Burridge from Redwood City, and this is my Get to Know Me. When you write music, I think obviously experience comes in, quite a bit. And I think without experience, it's very, very hard to write. Me personally, I don't tend to write about my own personal experiences, but more of what I've seen, and that's why I personally do it. But South Wales is very eventful. There's a lot of things going on. You see a lot, especially where we're from. So yeah, it's really important. We released a song called Ashtree, and that song was written about literally what life is like in Caerphilly. And growing up, I never sort of found, going through school and stuff like that, I never sort of found my way through easily. I was always looking for something that I didn't have, and that's kind of what Ashtree is about. The pre-chorus, we're praying on a rainy day in our ashtray. Sort of like you're always hoping for something to happen, and unfortunately sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, Ashtree covers loads of topics, violence, love, struggle, but then hope at the same time. And yeah, so there's a few stories in Ashtree that made its way in. No names or anything, or particular events, but they're in there. I think everywhere, obviously I can only write about what I see or I hear, but luckily nowadays you can see all over the world at any time you want. So I pick up stories from everywhere, but yeah, most of my lyrics are sort of about what I see, and sometimes there's a tiny hint of my own personal experience. I don't tend to do that, not on purpose, but yeah, most of our songs are written about the environment around us and what I see, and it tends to be other people's experiences and stuff like that, and what I take from it. So. I think there's a lot of, I think a lot of people think that we don't have a lot of resources, and maybe even we don't have the culture for it. I think there's a bit of a stereotype around Wales where we all live on farms and we all live in fields and we don't have Wi-Fi. I can promise you we do. And I think a lot of people think that we don't have the culture for it, but as proud as we are of our heritage, I think we can start to see Wales move into a new era now. And I think there's a lot of really good entertainment and media and things like that are coming in. And I hope that people recognise it and sort of think, they're not just the small part of the UK. And I think our music shows that. Our music takes inspiration from other countries and other cultures and other styles. But yeah, it always comes back to South Wales, and I'm proud to be South Walian, and yeah. If I was to compare it to America, for example, I think America is very trend-based, I think. And only from what I've seen online, I've never been to America or anything, but what I see, everything seems very trend-based. Everyone's sort of pushing the same trend and the same style. And I think we're lucky with where we come from. And I think the creative industry has such a big and wide variety and so many paths. And I think that's really important, because comparing it to other countries, I think everyone's sort of going down the same thing, and I think we're lucky. You know what I mean. Like, every country has their own special features about it, and I appreciate that because we take inspiration from other countries. But I think in South Wales we've got a huge variety. You know, we've got the rap, we've got the hip hop, we've got the grime, and then we've got the indie, we've got the metal, we've got the punk. You know, everywhere has that, but in Wales I feel, you know, it's easy to find it as well. You can find it in one place. You know, I've been to other countries and it's kind of, you hear the same thing in the same place all the time. But over here, you know, in Cardiff, for example, or Swansea, all you got to do is go to 5 bars and you're listening to 5 different types of music. And that's what I like about it. Yeah, because, you know, like I've sort of said previously, but all of our songs are stories, and I like to think of them as stories. And well, to be honest, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I'm still a kid, I'm only 18, but when I was younger, you know, in primary school, I used to love like writing books. Didn't like reading them, but I liked writing them, and I think that has played a part in songwriting. You know, I was rubbish in school, but English was something that I did like, because I liked writing. So yeah, I'd like to think we're carrying on the tradition, you know, and we take a lot of inspiration from Welsh music. So yeah, I'd like to think so. Yeah. You know, when we were going down the beach, we were listening to music as you do to fit the vibe and stuff like that and the mood. And then we started listening to bands such as Ocean Alley and Mako Road. But then obviously we were coming back to, you know, bands like Inhaler from Ireland, and, you know, I think all them cultures came together, and you know, what came out of it was kept in mind. You know, the sort of psychedelic approach came from bands like Ocean Alley. It was a huge inspiration. We're big fans of Ocean Alley, and we also like the sort of spaciness around it. We listen to a lot of songs now that sound very tight, and you don't sort of get that breathiness and that atmosphere about it, and that was something we wanted to do. So yeah, we came to bands like Inhaler and Ocean Alley for that. They're the main two, but yeah, we're proud of it. And it was a style of music we've been wanting to do for a long time. So we released it on Friday the 11th of July, and we built it up quite a bit, more than what we usually do. You know, we've been using like live performance videos, and you know, we've done some content creation, you know, set a camera up and pose, act pretty. But yeah, the reviews have been good. We've had a lot of people say it's our strongest yet, and we're happy because we feel it's our strongest yet. I wouldn't say responsibility or anything, or pressure, because I feel like in Wales all the bands have got quite a tight relationship, and it's almost like a community, which we really like. You know, I feel like every band in Cardiff sort of knows each other. And well, not in Cardiff, South Wales, you know, Newport, Swansea, the main cities for music. So no, I wouldn't say pressure or responsibility. I feel like we're all in it together, and I think that's something that's important. You know, I think when one band goes up, another band goes up. You know, I think everyone goes up together. And you know, from our personal experience, you know, we've asked other bands for advice and other bands for help, and some bands have asked us. So yeah, no responsibility or anything, just we're all in it together, we're all in the same boat, and it's nice. The band's been going, well, I joined the band when I was 15 in 2022, and it was very different back then. We were very young. I say back then, it's 3 years ago, but still, this, you know, is a huge difference. And I'd say now is the best we've ever felt about everything, about, you know, about the way we look, about the way we act, about the music we write, and the image we want to portray. It's been a long road, and you know, it's been hard, and there's been times where we thought, well, are we gonna, you know, is this gonna work? But right now, we feel like we can do anything at the minute, and we want to keep that incline going. But yeah, Connor joined the band less than a year ago. Well, yeah, coming up to August a year ago. In my opinion, he's the best addition to the band because he's just nuts, and he's way too happy all the time. I'm joking. We love Connor. And then Ed joined, well, almost 2 years ago now. The first time he ever came to the studio with us was Rockfield, and technically he weren't in the band then, but he came to Rockfield with us. We recorded our single Uptight, and literally as we were leaving the studio, said, yeah, by the way, if you want to be in the band, you're more than welcome, because you know, putting a shift in the studio. I'm the lead singer of the band, or the frontman if you want. Connor's our drummer, Ed's our lead guitarist, and Pete's our bassist. So yeah, but well, to be honest, we're all sort of venturing into other other roles in the band. We've looked at, you know, sort of incorporating other instruments, you know, in the studio and live. Pete's just started singing for the first time about 4 months ago, so he sings live now and on some of the records. So yeah, it's changing all the time. There's a lot of different venues for different types of bands. You know, I think some bands feel a bit more connected to certain venues than another venue. You know, for example, we've got Fuel in Cardiff. We played there, well, as of this time, we played there a few weeks ago, and you know, it's a very rock, you know, hard rock dedicated venue, but they were more than welcoming to bands like us who sort of have a, you know, a bit more of a varied sound. But then one of our favourite venues is the Bunkhouse in Swansea. We've played there a few times, and the atmosphere in there is brilliant. I remember playing there for the first time and thinking, I could just play here every day. Venues like the Bunkhouse in Swansea is something that we appreciate very much. It could be better. I don't know what the logistics are and how the government works and where the funding comes from. You know, I can imagine it's all very complicated. And there's other places it needs to go at the minute, which I will say. Yeah, it could be better when the time's right. But I think there's something quite special about a band who can start in school and carry on, or start at a young age, or well, any age, you know, but not have that advantage of having a fund or, you know, having financial backing. I think there's something special about a band who can move forward without that, you know. And yeah, you know, we've got bands like the Stereophonics. It was a different time then, you know, back in the 90s, but you know, there's something special about them. There was nothing, you know, none of them were rich or anything like that. None of them came from a well-off background. And it's like us, we're just normal kids from Caerphilly. We all went to, you know, normal schools, and yeah, we sort of try to build our way up now. And it's hard, you know, funding ourselves and trying to do everything ourselves. You know, we've just we've just joined our management company, Reaction Management. And our manager Jay's been brilliant in sort of guiding us through, you know, the different things that we have to conquer as a independently managed band, if you want to say. Or when the time's right, I think they do need to invest a lot more funding in entertainment and bands, and not just bands that are giving the government what they want. There's a lot of bands and artists now who are just conforming with what the government want and ticking boxes, and I think think it's not about that. It's more about if it's good music and they're showing a good message, you know, whoever you are, wherever you come from, if you're showing a good message, it's good music and you're entertaining people and you're making a difference, I think that's worth everything. I know some countries love the UK culture, and that's brilliant. That's what it's all about. Everyone learns off different cultures and sort of gets inspired by different cultures and different countries. And yeah, so I think the fact that we're getting played in different countries, our music's getting played in different countries, is good for us. It's important. And yeah, when it comes to a label us what you want. Whenever someone asks me, you know, what type of music do you play, I can't answer them. The only thing I tell them is you're gonna have to listen, because I can't answer them. I have no clue. I can't put people into categories really. If I listen to music, I know it's, you know, I know it's that band, or I remember them for that sound. I think our music is quite, you know, it's for everyone. Or some people won't like it, you know, that's normal. But I want them to walk away and think, you know, that's just a good band. That's a bunch of kids, you know, who've done that off their own back. They've written it themselves, they've recorded it themselves, you know, and that's what they came out with. And I think that is something special. Then we've done our job at the end of the day. I think music's made to make people feel.